Hey there, guys. It's Mia here. I am so excited. I am so excited about this live today. And what I'm going to teach very simply, very clearly, is how to create an elevated network for yourself in your life, for your business. Okay. And I know that this is going to support those of you who have always been the implementers, the doers, the action takers. Many of you who are high achieving already. And so you likely already have a network of people who are high achievers also. But what I'm talking about today is a little bit different than that. Okay. Not just the people who are high achievers. Hey, Patricia, not just high achievers. We're talking about people who see outside of the box, the possibility of playing outside the lines. I'm Mia Redrick. I am the mom strategist, business and life coach. Got started my company 17 years ago. Simply, I made the decision just to change your life, just make a decision. I wanted to figure out how could I take my professional background as a corporate trainer and my systems in motherhood, and how might I package what I knew into a product or service that would allow me to work from home, from the comfort of my home, to be able to more than replace my income, to build a business that created time freedom. That's what I desired. Now, the very first thing that I did to do this is I went to a small business resource center in my town, Camille. Good afternoon. And I was told that my idea, mom coaching, that nobody would ever pay me to do what I do today. So I always share the story with you at the top of my lives, Wilma, because what I want you to understand is this, that I don't believe that director of that small business resource center was trying to discourage me. I just believe he wasn't an out of the box thinker. And therefore, the advice he gave me was inside the box. Now, today's live is all about that, okay? I'm going to be teaching how to build for yourself an elevated network for your life and in your business. Now, I know that many of you have peers who you love, friends who you adore, okay? Colleagues who you guys match in education and experience. But maybe, just maybe, you are looking for a deeper connection with people who think outside of the box in an elevated way, okay? Because that was me years ago. I was surrounded with people who were like me in some ways. However, I was very different, right? I felt very different. I had always had these ideas of what I wanted to do, and I wasn't associating with people who were operating outside of the box, okay? So we're going to talk about that today. As a result of me growing this business, which I love, right? I've had the opportunity to coach thousands of women literally all around the world from the comfort of my home. And it was a dream, literally 17 years ago, a dream. I had no products. I had no clue what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I had no packages, no brand, nothing. Okay. But I started with this out of the box idea, and I knew I needed to get some support to help me. So I decided to start looking for someone to help me, and I bumped into a life business coach, and she's still my coach today. And the coolest part was, I went to one of her live events, and it was the first time I saw someone doing what I wanted to do. So I couldn't have actually put words on it because I didn't know what I wanted to do. But when I saw her doing it her own way, I was like, that's it. And I signed up to work with her. I didn't have the money. I found the money, because I knew if I didn't, how would I change my life, right? Like, how would I change my life talking about what I didn't have? If I wanted to figure out what I didn't know how to do, I had to make an investment in myself. That's the mindset I have, and that's the mindset you need to have. So I made an investment, and it changed my life. And fast forward, I've had the opportunity to coach thousands of women literally all around the world. And I've had the opportunity to do Emmy nominated, nationally syndicated television shows as paid talent. And I've also had the opportunity to do corporate deals with Fortune 100 and 500 companies. That's pretty cool. But more importantly, I've had the opportunity to transfer what I did for myself in my own life with my clients, right? To my clients. So there's one thing if I say, hey, look, I created this success. But it means more if I have other clients that have done television and getting signed to television shows. It means more if I have other clients who've been able to change the lives of others because they've been able to build high-end coaching programs and services as consultants. It means more that I have other clients, lots of clients, who've been able to package their knowledge into high ticket offerings or to get themselves free and to stay free year after year. See, that means more to me than what I've done, right? So it's being able to take your knowledge and transfer it. As a result of growing this business, one of the biggest things that was a blessing to me was getting myself free and not being codependent on my husband for income or my job for income. And let's be clear that I was of that mindset of what's yours is mine. Okay, it is. But what's mine is my responsibility to get myself free. And so I began working this business like a person that wanted to get herself free. And I did exactly that. I wanted to get free and I wanted to stay free. And thank God for that, because my husband developed kidney disease over 10 years ago. He's doing amazingly well today, so don't worry. And I was able to be the kind of woman I needed to be for him. I could stand in the gap for him. Okay, I could stand in the gap for my kids on that time when he needed me most. So I'm always going to shake your shoulders when you guys tell me you got to talk to your husband before you can move forward to invest $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, or whatever it is in yourself. You got to figure that out. Okay, you want to change your life. If I didn't figure that out when my husband needed me, and he needed me, okay, I wouldn't have been able to stand in the gap, hire for him the most amazing doctors so that he could get an elevated level of care. We hired a private physician for him that gave him added attention, right? Because beyond his typical the typical doctors that you would have, so we can make sure he got the best care. And that's important to me, right? We made sure that Pat was able to have a personal trainer so that he could be strong when he got called for his kidney transplant. I believe that's why he did so well. Also, we were able to make sure that he didn't have the stress that so many people have when they're trying to overcome or their bodies are trying to heal or dealing with aggressive therapies. He didn't have it. Okay. And that's why I'm hardcore with you guys about it. So this idea, don't tell me, please don't tell me. You got to ask your husband if you can invest in yourself. You got to work that out. Okay. You got to understand that's the deal you negotiated, and it's up to you to renegotiate that. How do we show up for our kids? Or how do we show up for our spouse? We can't even show up for ourselves and advocate for what we need. If I wanted to go to law school, would I say, babe, do you think I can go to law school? Are you kidding me? That's my dream. All right. It's not something I'm compromising on or I'm negotiating on. We're not trying to find the right time for me to go to law school. That's ridiculous. Okay. All right. So I would say also a lot of you guys that follow me, the reason you want to grow a great business is because you want to give your kids a great education. And I'm all into that. So my husband and I've invested millions, literally over $1.2 million in our kids' elementary, middle, and high school education. And I say that because the two oldest, pretty much the oldest got a full ride to college, and my daughter almost got a full ride, pretty much, like about 80% of her, well, maybe more than that. Yeah, about 80%. She's got a scholarship for 4 years. So into that. So if you give your kids a great education, it all comes back anyway, right? So I just know that running a great business has allowed us to be there for them, right? And to create experiences and create real security for our kids and invest in so in them, Tara. And that's really important. I like your image, your face mask there. Okay. So today I'm going to talk about this. Now you need to get some paper out. Okay. Patrice, get some paper out here. We're going to talk about elevating your network for life and business. And this is going to be an elevated conversation. And I would say equally on this particular live today, if your feelings hurt easily, this might not be the live for you. But I'm going to have an honest conversation with you about you and your network, right? And how to elevate it so that going into this new year, you make the shifts, right, that are in alignment with where you want to be. And I think that I see this all the time because I am a magnet for incredible, sharp, smart women who believe in self-investment, who are highly actionable, who are go-getters. My clients call themselves giants. What I love about them, quite frankly, is the fact that they are really brilliant, amazing women, but they don't lead with their egos. Because that's kind of like, doesn't that pluck your nerves, right? You know what I'm saying? Just be honest, okay? But they're sharp and smart women, but they don't lead with their egos, right? They lead with their heart. They're integrity based. They help one another, and they call themselves giants. And I have an appetite for giants. So if you are interested in like in any way, like Mia, how is it that you consistently put together a network of women, high achievers, that are humble but brilliant, and that can stand in their value, that don't believe that saying who they are in any way means that that they're being egotistical, because you got to say what you do and who you are and what's great about what you do so that other people want to work with you. But in the same token, you don't operate from a place of scarcity. You know what I mean? Believing that, you know, you are the great I am and nobody else can be great. Are you kidding me? Like I'm not into that. Okay, Camille, so I love that. Giants who lead with their hearts, that have integrity. Very important to me. And those are the women I attract consistently and have. So most of the women that I've worked with over the years, they have found their people in my community. I am not kidding. And it's because we interview every single person that is a long-term client, and to ensure a fit. Is everybody a fit? I would say everyone except a little less than 1%, really. Because you got to be able to handle being around people who stand tall in their gifts. So let's talk about it today, because I know that this is something that a lot of really brilliant women want and they desire. And I wanted to talk about it specifically because I know that when I was first getting started in my company, I felt so alone. So I had all these out of the box ideas, things that I could see myself doing, but I didn't have a network of women my own ambition level and above. Now I was surrounded with professional, educated women, but they were they were very conventional. And I was very out of the box in terms of what I saw myself doing. And when you're this way, and I know that you guys can relate, that's why you're here. When you're this way, what happens is you don't have anybody to talk to about what you want to do, because the people who are, you know, following the herd, doing things in a conventional way, they don't always mean to not want to hear what you're saying. They just don't know what language you're speaking. Okay. So if you want an elevated network for life and business, I've got a couple of things I want you to think about. Number one, you want to align with people with an elevated vision, okay? So I learned this over the years. Number one is an elevated vision. What do I mean by that? When you are thinking about networking with or connecting with people who are your own ambition level and above, what allows them to be your own ambition level and above is that their vision is gigantic and your vision is gigantic. And a lot of times when we connect with people, we connect with them because there's some shared value that we have, right? So when you connect with your coworkers, you know, you guys have shared skill, likely shared education, and in that way, it's aligned. But when you decide to step outside of that box called the JOB, right, and you want to do something on your own, it's important to connect with people, your own ambition level and above, who have an elevated vision for what they want to accomplish, because that is the thing that would create the alignment for you. And likely the thing that's creating disalignment for you currently, right? You think about your girlfriends, people you've known forever, you talk to them and they're talking about what's happening at work. That's nice, okay? And you're talking about how you want to create a movement, right? And you can see this vision, how, you know, where you're going to open your stores, or the women you're going to impact, or the business that you're going to start, the companies that you're going to, you know, that you're going to sell your proprietary process to, and they just can't relate. So what it feels like, okay, is when you say these things to your friends who don't have an elevated vision, they begin to ask you questions that I call hole punching questions, right? And they're questions where they start to punch holes into the thing that you want to do because they don't think outside of the box. Okay, they're not really trying to be negative. They just don't see what you see. Okay, so they'll say, well, how are you going to do that? Well, how might you make money doing that? I know that you are experiencing that already. The reason that you're experiencing it is because you're not communicating with someone with an elevated vision. It is the reason why I interview all of my clients before they become long-term clients to ensure a fit. because one of the things that's very important to me is to make sure that within our community that we have women who do think outside of the box, and that finally they have a safe place for their amazing ideas. Amazing ideas don't need validation, right? Amazing idea is just when you're with other people who think outside of the box as well, they add value to what you want to do. They speak life into what you want to do, and they speak life into you. But when you are disaligned and you're talking to people who never spend time with an elevated vision, they just don't have the capacity to do it. It doesn't mean that they're not nice people. Completely different than that. You guys getting this, right? It's just that they don't have an elevated vision of what it can look like. And it's so funny because my husband and I have been married for 25 years, and he knows me better than anybody, Crystal, anyone, right, on this planet. And one of the things he says all the time is like, wow, like you have ideas all the time. Like, oh, when I remember one time I had this idea and I thought, I want to pitch my own show, and which is called A Treatment. I'm going to pitch it. And it was amazing network. I'm not going to mention the name of the network. And I said, I'm just going to pitch it. And I did pitch it, spoke with the executive vice president, said, I'm going to fly to LA. I'm going to go pitch it. My husband was like, but like, how, like, why, like, when, like, what are you going to say? Aren't you scared? All these things. But for those of us who are elevated, we have an elevated vision. Fear is secondary. You know what I mean? We stand on our fear. We leverage our fear. We use it in a different way. And we don't allow it to stop us. So you need to have community with people like that, an elevated vision. And those folks are going to talk to you about who you need to be to step inside of your dream. And they're going to be able to hold a place for you, and you're going to feel at home, right? Because you're finally able to finish a sentence without having to defend the dream. Camille writes, true, have to be around people with elevated thinking. Thank you so much. All right. Okay. And so I'll just show that there. Thank you, Camille, on that beautiful picture there. I love it. Okay. You also, if you want to elevate your network, right, your life and your business, you need to be around people with elevated beliefs, okay? Elevated beliefs. You guys write this down. Now, what do I mean by this? So an elevated vision, we just talked about. An elevated beliefs is completely different than that. See, there are people who believe bigger than others, all right? And it's so important. Thank you, Patrice. It's very true. It's so important to understand that having community, being in community with people who have elevated beliefs about what is possible, okay, versus people who have beliefs of what is not possible. This is very, very important, okay? Thank you so much, Judith Rice. Mia, you're so right? It's so important. Hey, beautiful, it's good to see you there. All the way from the UK, good to see you. Okay, darling. So it's like 10 o'clock your time, right? 10 at night your time. So you need to get around people who have elevated beliefs. And when you're around people who have elevated beliefs, it's actually a whole different way of thinking and approaching what it is that you want to do. So when you're around people who have elevated beliefs and they believe what is possible versus what is impossible, the language of the conversation about what to do, when to do it, how to do it, what's possible, what might happen, they begin to speak life into the very thing that you believe, and you believe even more, okay? And when you are around people who have elevated beliefs, they are the best accountability partners you could ever find, okay? Because people who believe in what you're doing also are the kind of people that will hold you accountable to do the thing that you really want to do that might scare you a little bit, right? Because big dreams scare us a little bit, but we do it anyway, right? But I found that being in community with people with elevated beliefs, making those people my accountability partners, they're the ones that say, when are you going to do that? When are you going to make that call? Okay, like that. What are you going to say? And it's said to you in a different way such that They're giving you ideas. They're sewing into you. They're allowing you to role play. Everybody's thinking outside of the box creatively. And so you're better because of it, right? So you're not in that place where you feel like you're very alone. I'm not sure what's going to happen. They're punched holes in your dream. Instead, you've got a network of people who are believing what is possible, who are giving you ideas, who are saying to you, thank you, Patricia. She writes, yes, yeah. That are saying to you, instead of how will that happen, they're just saying you are perfect for that. They're looking at what you've got going on. See, when people believe in what you're doing, they take that extra step with you. They hold you accountable. They look at the things that you have. They want to hear what you're going to say, right? They give you feedback proactively. That's what believers do. Okay. And when people don't believe in what you're doing in an elevated way, they don't want to hear it. Okay. You guys, if I'm speaking the truth, just say me, look, you're speaking the truth. It is the reason why I years ago decided that I wanted to work with women who are smart, sharp, believe in self-investment, because nothing happens without investing in yourself. Okay. Because if you're going to run a business and you want to get free and stay free, number one, you got to invest time. Right? At least 90 minutes a day investing in your dream to move yourself forward. Two, you got to figure out how to invest resources, right? Also to move yourself forward. Nikki, right? Right. Nikki writes, they can't hear it. Right. That's exactly right. Okay. You've got to invest resources, right? As well, like money, okay, in your dream in order for you to move forward. Okay. That needs to be the mindset. All right. And it's going to take implementation, right? 90 minutes. Implementation. Nothing happens just because you make an investment. What happens is because of how you show up in an elevated way with the investments that you make, right? You can buy all the treadmills in the world, but if you don't get on that treadmill, you understand nothing's happening. Okay. All right. So in the story. So we talked today about two things, right? Elevated network for your life and your business. The first thing is you need to be around people who have an elevated vision also, your peers, your ambition level and above. Two, you need to hang out with people who have elevated beliefs. Now, you will be able to recognize people with elevated beliefs because people with elevated beliefs operate differently, meaning you will see they will tend to be highly actionable people. See, believers are people who do things, right? Non-believers are people who don't do things until they see things. There's a difference. Like, think about what I just said, all right? So you want to hang around people who you can tell they believe because of how they act. Does that make sense? Number three, okay, you want to hang out with people who have elevated confidence to execute in faith. So, see, when someone has confidence, all right, now I'm gonna talk about this because I think this is so important. When you are a high achiever, person that gets things done, when you're smart, you're sharp, and sometimes you just show up and you don't know why you know the answer. You just know the answer. You always do. When you're this person that people just come to and they just want to know what you know, and you just know it because of your life experience, your education, your background, your gifts, and people trust you. You have a confidence about you. Now, there are some people who are not going to ever be comfortable with you being confident. And they might think that your confidence comes across as cocky or arrogant, when the reality is that a giant loves being in the company of another giant, okay? So don't ever worry about people who feel any sense of insecurity around you being yourself. Just be yourself, all right? But you want to hang out with people who I say have the confidence to execute in faith, because that's an elevated way of living. Like, imagine being comfortable in your skin to not need permission in order for you to do the great things that you were put here to do. Are you with me? So many people are in circles where they don't want to outpace their circle. I'm not interested in it. Okay. Where there's only one leader. There's only one person that can be great in that circle. There's only one person that can be the best. We're talking today about having an elevated network for yourself. And what I know for sure is I, each and every year, work with women. They call themselves giants. When they come together, whether physically or whether online, there are lots of giants all over the place, okay? and everyone has a confidence to execute whatever it is that they know how to do, and they don't pull back. They're not in an environment that requires them to mute what they know how to do. They're not in a relationship with one another, accountability partners, friendships, where you can't say, okay, like let's say a lot of great things happen for you today, but you can't say all those things today. Because if you do, the people in your world are going to feel in some way that you're trying to one up them when you're just speaking your truth. When you get in an environment with people your own ambition level and above, and you surprise yourself because of the execution that you create in your life, and you start closing something that maybe you go from selling something for $100 an hour when we first meet, and I was thinking about one of my clients, Terry, who within like 2-3 weeks of us working together closed her first $14,000 deal. Now she's looking at a multi six-figure deal, which is multi six figures for 3 years. When you do something like that, you need to have people in your world. You need to have people in your world that can clap loud for you through that. Okay? You know what I'm saying? You need to have people in your world who honor that kind of execution, right? Who value you leading from the front. See, there's something magical about being around people who are confident and take action. When you're in community with people who do versus people that say, okay, they show you what is possible. They create a pull inside of you that makes you stop doing what you're not doing. You know what I'm talking about, Nikki. They make you stop doing what you're not doing, okay? Because you watch these people do things that you're like, I could have done, I was there, right? But you're never feeling like this not available for you. And they're never saying that I'm the only one that can do it. They're like, come on, right? Because they're leading from the front. There's something amazing about being around that level of confidence. Okay. And I know a lot of times in corporate America, I know in my experience, there was always that one person in the department that you had to like kowtow to, who had great ideas, certainly, and had the education, certainly, but also was the benefactor of a lot of times my ideas and other folks' ideas, but we couldn't say. Okay. I just think that it's beautiful to be in community with other people, because the other people who really do value what other folks are doing. Drea writes, amen. And I want that magical. I have people that will talk down accomplishments sometimes, and it's disheartening. And that's what we're talking about, being confident enough to be able to own what's good about you, right? To own what you know how to do really well, and understand that being in a culture that allows you to stand and be all of who you are is one of the most powerful places to be, but it's rare. It is a rare thing, people. So really important, having your network. It's something that I require for myself. I have an appetite for it. And the people that I know who just haven't been able to grow with me in my own personal pursuits, my own professional journey, I don't make them wrong. I just don't spend a lot of time there because we are not in alignment. And I am not going to shrink my shine to make anybody else feel fine. Okay. This is good. Number 4. Okay. You need to have an elevated value with what you know. Okay. So one of the things that's important is to understand that if you want to hang around people your own ambition level and above, and maybe some of you are not hanging around people your own ambition level and above, or working with the right clients, has everything to do with you not elevating the value with what you know. And a lot of times we haven't been taught how to do this. Now, one of my greatest pet peeves is, and you guys, this is just me personally, okay, is when I talk to people and all they want to talk about is the past. They want to talk about the past, okay? But I think like, wow, but you're not going that way, right? Like I like to actually hang out with people who want to talk about, as a result of what I learned from my past, this is how I'm going to stand on it, right? To create this thing here, right? Where I'm going. And so I use my past as a measure to guide me, right? About what worked. It's my measuring stick. What worked, what didn't work, what tweaks I need to make. But I never judge myself by my failures because I understand that success is built on failure. And one of the things that I've learned over the years is that people who do not know how to value the journey properly, okay, never value what they know. Okay. So that means that if you're that person that, or you've been around people who always are looking at what they do wrong or what they didn't do right or what mistakes they made, and they don't see that as an opportunity to build and grow from that, it is likely the reason why you stay in the exact same place year after year. Okay. I don't know any successful people who haven't failed. When I think about the results that I've been able to create in my business, it's only been a direct result of the mistakes I've made. The whole point in me coaching my clients is so that they don't make those same mistakes, and they don't have to because they get to stand on my shoulders. Does it mean that they won't make mistakes? They'll make different ones, but they won't make the ones that I've made. Okay. So one of the things that I understand is that working with people, okay, working with clients, coaching them at a high level, is that the importance of that is I'm able to value the mistakes that I've made and understand the value of passing forward what not to do to others. And that comes with an investment, right? I want you guys to wrap your head around this for a minute that are business owners. A lot of us have been judging ourselves because of what didn't work, okay? But what if instead, if you were thinking about hanging out with an elevated network, what if you looked at what you didn't do properly differently? Like, what if you looked at what didn't work differently? All right. What if instead of you judging yourself by it, you saw it as an opportunity, right, to be able to support someone else in your network with not making mistakes? That's one of the things that I know about being around an elevated group of people is that they talk about their failures, right? And they can see the value of the mistakes that they've made and how it's propelled them forward or made them better or allowed them to create tweaks. See, those are the people I want to hang out with. So we're talking today about how to be around an elevated network, right, for your life and your business. If you're hanging out only with people who want to talk about who hurt them, who harmed them, what didn't work, what never worked, all of that, that person is staying in the exact same place. We all have failures. The difference with an elevated network is how we value the failures, how we talk about them, how we see them as stepping stools or tools in our toolbox that have made us the success that we are today. Thank you, Denisha. She writes, that's good. Okay. And it's funny because I see so many people who I'll give you an example. You ever been in an audience and the moment that the speaker is talking about something, who harmed you, who hurt you, and say, how many of you guys can relate to this? And everybody's like, oh yeah. And you might even get some folks in the room and say, amen, right? And you get all of these people real excited about where they're not going. Well, I will tell you an elevated network is talking about where you are going, okay? Where you are going, that you are not defined by what went wrong. What went wrong was never meant to harm you. What went wrong was a part of this journey of your tweaking and growing. And when you're in an elevated network, you'll realize that that's what's so wonderful about being around people who are not afraid to fail, is that that's the thing that everybody has in common, is that you realize that nobody ever just got it all right, to get it done. That typically successful people, it's been a process, and they respect that journey, and they can have an honest, open conversation about it. And it's not a superficial conversation. Let me break this down. I know on a personal level, you guys have been in the company of people who, when you talk to them, their whole life is perfect. Life is perfect. Kids are perfect. Husband's perfect. Everything's perfect. And that because of it, there isn't a real deep connection with the people that you're talking to, not because they're not nice people. It's just you don't know them. You're not really talking about anything that is real, right? So when you're looking to connect with people and that have elevated value, there are people who are having real conversations about what's going on in their world, but how they're not staying stuck in what didn't work, but instead they are looking at what did work in their world, and as a result of it, who they become on the other side. And that's a really powerful place. We have that in our community. We talk about this all the time. People talk about all the time. I was, marketing this way. I learned that wasn't my audience. Now I figured out what to say, what to do differently, and they've grown because of it. And when you're in a community like that, you grow because of it, because you stop thinking something is wrong with you, right? Like, I'm the only one this is happening to. No, successful people share, right? Right. And value in a different way the failures that they've created. They stand on them. A couple of comments. Yes, I find those who keep living in the past don't grow. Thank you, Tara. That is so true. Okay, Drea, I'm glad. In Case, I like that name. Yes, pull positive out of any negative situations. And Patrice says, yeah, the dumping on you, right? So, we don't have room for that. All right. Number 5, okay. You want to hang out with people who have an elevated sense of abundance. Okay. You want to be around people who don't believe that scarcity. You talk to some people and they think that there's just a limited number of customers. They think that there's a limited number of people that can do the thing that you want to do, and it's just not true. Okay. Andrea writes, success leaves clues. Absolutely. Right. So, but it's not true. The reality is that elevated sense of abundance means that you're around people who believe that you can win, I can win, these people can win, and we can all do this at the exact same time. Those are the kind of people who I love creating community with, because that's what it's about. And it really isn't about there being 1 or 2 people who are just the breakouts and there's only room for greatness among 1 or 2. Okay, there is always room for all of us to make it, as Tara writes here. And it's so true. And that's what an elevated network looks like. And I've invited you guys to, I think many of you guys signed up, but to my conference, which starts on the 7th through the 11th. One of the things that you will see there is that we do things differently. We do have elevated conversations. I speak a language that most often the audience has never spoken before, with the intent on setting the bar high. Because if you want to get yourself free, and you want to work from the comfort of your home, and you want to build a business where money is no longer concerned, it's about doing things differently than you've done before. And so that's one of the things that we do. That's one of the things that I teach my clients from the beginning. Having an elevated sense of abundance, understanding that there doesn't have to be a cap on your income. There doesn't have to be a cap on the opportunities. There doesn't have to be just that you don't get to be all of who you are. I mean, when I got started in business, someone told me, look, you either choose to be a mom coach or you choose to be a corporate trainer. You can't do both. And I was like, why not? Why can't I do both? Okay. And I've done both. Okay. And they were wrong. They just didn't know how to operate with a sense of abundance. And right now, I want you to think about your life. Maybe somebody told you, choose your lane, stay in your lane. Okay, as it relates to using your gifts, your talent, your expertise, and your experience. What if I told you that being all of who you are is the thing that's going to allow you to show up more powerfully to impact the people that you want to work with? The truth of the matter is, tons of people work with me because I'm really a great mom. And I've got these great systems. And tons of people work with me because I am a great corporate trainer, right? Like literally. Okay. So not choosing is the strength, and knowing step by step how to take all of who you are, package that into a high ticket offering that allows you to get free and stay free is where it's at. And there is definitely room for you to be able to be yourself. That's the thing. And I think where people struggle typically in business is not being all of who you are. Because it's like, if you wanted to work with me and I was only working with you on the mom side, man, I'm really great at curriculum building. Like, I'm really great with helping you build out a brand or get media or get corporate deals or pitch or sell. And imagine that I would not offer that to you because in my mind, someone told me that I have to be limited in what I give to people. And it's just not true. Okay. Sheree, hey there. You can live your life how you want to. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And Andrea writes, been in your community for a while, all in the community, lift, support, share. and encourage. It's true. They're great, right? Well, I work with giants. Like we have an elevated conversation, and I think it's important to be among people who operate that way. Sometimes we don't have it. We don't even know that it exists. Okay. You need to be around people who are elevated in their actionability. Now, this is a tricky one here. Elevated in actionability is so important because typically, all right, I'm great. Now, this might shake your shoulders a little bit. You will tend to attract who you are. Mm-hmm. So this is really one of those funny things, right? So actionability. When I think about the women in my community, they are action takers. They say yes now and they figure it out, right? Almost all of the women that I work with have committed to work with me within 3 days or less. It's fact. Okay. Just they don't take a lot of time because they're ready to change your life. And so I believe that when they get together, okay, that they are highly actionable with one another. There's something really great about being in a community with people you can count on, right? That do things, that accomplish things, not people who just talk about it. We're talking today about how to have an elevated network, right? And part of that is how you show up in the community. See, one of the ways that people will be attracted to you is based on how you show up in the communities that you're a part of, right? I think that when I look at this, that elevated in actionability, this is probably one of the things that's so important. It is the first time that many of the women that I've worked with have had the opportunity to be seen, okay, right? Like literally to be seen, like they're out here, they're selling, they're launching what they're doing, they're practicing what they're doing, and they have a group of people that value that level of actionability, right? Now, the question is, do you have people in your world that when you take action, they want to hear about it? You know what I mean? Because when we're taking action, I want you guys to think about it. You're fired up, right? Like when I'm taking action, I'm excited. Like I'm fired up. Like it stokes me, right? It gets me going. I want to cut this down. Wait a minute. And my fireplace is up a little high. It gets me going. It gets me fired up, right? So I like being around people that value that, right? Because the thing about people who are highly actionable is that they need other people that are highly actionable too, right? Because they value that. And some of us are in community networking partners, mastermind partners, and you spend the majority of the time that you're talking to these people, talking about things that are not actionable. I know, listen, I understand this, right? You like them, but you're not growing with them. You know, imagine being in an accountability group, in a mastermind, in a community where people take an action, and because of it, you see it's possible. Okay. Imagine hopping on an accountability call with people who encourage you, saying, what are you going to do next? Right? Like that the value is actionability. Okay. Not inaction. I'm breaking this down today. I'm talking about an elevated network. And I know that the majority of people do not have this. This is why I interview all of my clients to make sure that they're fit. Because when you don't take action and you have to hang out with people that do, you feel a certain kind of way about it. Okay. But if you're a person that you're like, I want to get results, you know, you got to take action. And part of it is you need to be in a culture with people who are doing that. Okay. Their own way. Right? You get to run your own race. You get to run your own journey, right? Like, you know, whatever, but you are taking action because that's the only way you change your life. You know, the notion that week after week you meet with people and they're supposed to be your mastermind partners and you guys spend more time talking about recipes, spouses, clothes, sales, whatever, that doesn't relate to your dreams and your goals and your plan is a disservice to your dream. Okay. We're talking about elevated actionability. Who is it that you're hanging out with that you know consistently you can count on that they're going to do what they say? Okay. That's the kind of people that I like to be around. Those are the kind of women that I love to coach. Okay. Because we can see your life change. You know, there's nothing like I was on a call recently with some of my mastermind partners. Mastermind clients. And it was so funny. It was like, I love this though. Okay. So I'm on there with mastermind clients and that's the highest level of investment working with me. And then everybody's talking about what they're going to do, and you can hear one of the new women who had just signed up. She was like, oh my goodness, like I'm gonna have to come on this call next week and have some stuff laid out. But you know what, because of it, she ended up launching a course that she wasn't going to launch, right? It might have taken her weeks to launch, but she launched it faster, quicker, sooner, because one, she had the capacity. That's why she was accepted to the mastermind. So we knew she could do it. But two, she needed to be around people who are highly actionable. And then one of the women comes on the call. She closed 100 grand, okay, in a week, over a little bit over 100 grand in a week. And the other woman comes on the call, and she had just closed for a renewal 50 grand deal, and then another 19.5 deal, right? So you kind of feel like, oh, come on, but being in community with people like that, there's nothing like it. It doesn't happen when week after week you're in community with people who do not take action. Okay. And I would say, along with elevated actionability comes elevated way of sharing those results. So, and this is something I'm very hardcore about, and this might not be for everybody, but I believe that if someone changes your life, the least you could do, because it doesn't take anything, is to share what those results are. Mindset. Why is that so important to me? Because when people see what you accomplish, it inspires them to be great. And the moment that we think that, my success is on my own, right? Like I give testimonies to my coach all the time. I just did one recently. Okay. And I surprised her. And why? Do I have to? No. But because she changed my life. Okay. And so it doesn't take anything away from me. There are people get this twisted in their minds. Okay. And I will tell you, you will get what you give in life later and in greater abundance. The reality is that you want to be around people who are highly actionable and who are not protective of the outcome. I have another coach who is Joel, who is a platform closer. And my coach introduced me to him, and I started working with him. And I tell him all the time, like, what he's done that's helped me. I mean, like, are you kidding me? Like, I've had very few people in my life change my life. What part of that would I ever be twisted about? You want to be around people who have the ability to edify other people. It's a different heart connection. There's some people that feel like, oh, if I say this, then people are going to think this about me. What am I talking about? If you're that person that whenever you thought to edify someone else, okay, let's say you're a coach and you were going to edify your coach, and you thought, if I edify my coach, that means that the people I coach are going to think I'm less than me. No, they're going to learn from your example what kind of leader you are. And they're going to edify you the exact same way that you edify others, okay? Don't ever get that twisted around what that looks like. Lead from the front and be actionable around it. If you want to attract people who say great things about you, you say great things first, all right? I live by this, all right? And I am not... I've just never been that way. I've always been very, very clear about this idea, and I don't know where people get this, but this probably goes in under not being abundant, because that's not abundant minded. Okay, elevated in your investments. Okay, you want to be an elevated investor. If you are looking to be around a great network of people in life and business, the truth of the matter is, I have never met great people that are my own ambition level and above. I'm not talking about just somebody I want to, hang out with or have a glass of wine with. I met a lot of nice people like that. But if I'm talking about my own ambition level and above and my dreams and my vision, shared vision, I have never met people in alignment with me that I did not make an investment first to meet. So when you are a high-level investor in yourself, you end up meeting people who are also high-level investors in yourself. And the air is different because you guys are aligned because of the level of investment. Is that making sense? Okay. So think about the free networking groups that you might have been a part of. Think about some of the networking groups that you've been a part of professionally. They've worked because it's been all around your work. Now, imagine in your business, the vision you have for your amazing dream. Where are you meeting people who are building their dream too at a high level? Imagine that you want to have 6-figure plus months. Okay, where are you meeting people who want to have 6-figure plus months also, who are leveraging their own ideas? Now, I know for me, I've never in 17 years ever just met these people without first making a high level strategic investment in myself through a coach or consulting in that way. That's the only place I've ever met these people. And maybe, just maybe, you haven't met the people that you want to work with because you haven't been strategically investing to be with them. Okay. And I know that for me, because of it, it's something that I cannot unknow. Okay. Like I cannot unknow. Like my neighbors, if nice neighbors, they're respectable people, they are not my ambition level and above. My car sits in front of my house every freaking day. Okay. You know, I work from the comfort of my home. I work 34 hours a month. Okay. Where am I finding other people who leverage their income the way that I do? Not in my neighborhood. Okay, at school. Okay, I'm the mom. I was a cupcake mom. I had the freedom to do what I wanted to do. Where am I meeting these moms? The majority of people that I met, they were all running off to work or their job. They didn't own themselves. I've always had to invest in myself at a high level to meet people at a high level. Okay, and you guys are quiet here, but I want to tell you that's what you're going to have to do also. All right. And there's something really magical. So when I look at our community of giants, I think that number one, they're all investment minded. Number two, they're people that say yes and they figure it out. They're highly actionable, usually within 3 days. Sheree, I think you're and Andre are the only women that I've worked with that are here. Oh, no. I think there was one other, Judith. Okay, I'm trying to see. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. Okay. Um, the reality is that you guys are quick investors, right? You say yes, so you end up meeting other people who are like that, right? Who are highly actionable, who are implementers, who are serious about their dream. So if you have not invested at a high level in your dream, how is it that you're expecting to meet high level people? You know, that's really important. You know, one of the things that I've never done over the years is I've never wanted to just, let's say I'm working with an amazing coach, which I've worked with the same coach for 17 years and she's amazing. Okay. But let's say I work with an amazing coach and then there's two people and they don't have a coach at all. And they're like, Mia, let's just meet every Monday. Well, I don't want to work with someone that wants to pick my brain about what I'm learning. I want to work with someone that also adds value, right? Because they also are growing themselves, that they are equally yoked in that way. They are investment minded, not investment taking. All right. And I think some of us aren't discerning about what that looks like, but that's really important. I wanted to break that down. Patrice writes, yes, Patricia, real, and Patricia writes energy. Absolutely. Okay. And here's the last thing. Okay. Andrea says, the others help fuel your ambition. Absolutely, they do. Okay. And lastly, you also, in the programs that you invest in and the training that you invest in, you also want to be an elevated student. Okay. So we're talking about right now how to have an elevated network for your life and your business. And one of the things that I've learned over the years is that if you are an elevated student in yourself, then one of the things that will happen is you will attract other people equally because of it. So what do I mean by that? I meet people all the time that when they start working with me, they were not the most successful. They may have been selling their product maybe for $100 an hour, you know, they're trading time for dollars. They may have had their models all mixed up, all kinds of things in the business. However, they learn as a result of being a student how to unlearn the things that weren't working. So being an elevated student means that if you know that what you're doing isn't working, letting go of what doesn't work so that you can figure out what does work and do that. And, you know, people who are elevated in their ability to be a student are very teachable. They're very coachable. Okay. They are people who say, tell me how, and they'll do it. They ask very few questions. I ask very few questions of my coach in terms of I'm never going to challenge what she's telling me because I'm looking to do what she's done. Right. So the reality is that I'm all ears. I'm just going to be a student. and I'm not going to skip steps. And so if you want to be in a elevated, have an elevated business, have an elevated life, you got to also be an elevated student. That means that it's not only what you get, but it's what you do with what you get that makes all the difference, right? Like you guys, if you were here a couple days ago, 2 days ago, Camille hopped on. Oh no, Constance hopped on and shared how, in 3 months after coming to the conference, the Giant Experience Conference, she closed a $25,000 contract. Had never done this before. And, I tell you this because she's an amazing student. She took what she had, put her head down, did the work. And as a result of that, she was able to apply and create the results, right, that she wanted to in her business. So you need to ask yourself right now, are you an elevated student? Or are you this person that you start, you stop, you start, you stop, you start, you stop, right? And when are you going to change that, right? And, sometimes we think of people stopping because of just getting frustrated or not having expertise. But a lot of times I see this sometimes with professional women, that it's that comfort of the paycheck, right? It's the comfort of our lives that prevent us from being consistent with our dream. So you need to ask yourself that. So I'm going to recap really quickly. I would love to hear your ahas and your takeaways. Of course, I'm going to post a link here for the conference. And 1 second, let me grab it. And I'm going to post a link here of the conference. I would love to see each of you there. It's next week. So it'll change your life. I promise you that. For sure. If you're interested in taking your knowledge and packaging what you know into a high ticket offering, it is absolutely for you. If you don't even know right now what it's going to be, but you create results for people because they're telling you all the time, you're just trying to figure out what it is and how to monetize it, how to package what you're doing, how to price what you're doing to fully value the transformation you provide, how to position yourself in the marketplace from scratch, like you don't know how would I market this, how to price what you're doing to fully value what you do, and how to sell and how to find the right buyers for what you're doing, then the event is absolutely for you. And I'll answer any questions that you might have about it. I did just post a link here. Renee writes, Renee, my middle name is Renee. I think you're making great points. Likewise, you have to be able to invest, at least for me. I'm not there yet. Yeah. So you have to decide for yourself when you're ready, right? Because to definitely move into that next level always requires an investment of time, right? 90 minutes a day, money. Okay, that's right. You got to invest in yourself, right, to create a fruit, right? And energy, right? That's implementation. So things don't change just because of our wants, our wishes, our hopes. They change because of some very real things. I thank you for your comment. I appreciate it. Andrea writes, Mia, definitely provide the models and strategies that work. I appreciate you putting that there. That's a great quotable right there. Sheree writes, get out of that comfort zone and make this necessary change for elevation. That's really important. I like that picture of you too, right? So she says, get out. So thank you for putting that there. Any ahas or takeaways? I'll recap for those of you who just joined me. I talked today about how to create for yourself an elevated network for your life and your business, okay? And you're going to attract who you are. Number one, you want to make sure that you're hanging out with people with also who have an elevated vision, okay? Elevated vision, all right? And people who have elevated beliefs, and they have elevated beliefs because they are highly actionable. They do things differently, okay, than people who don't. People who don't believe tend not to do much, all right? Elevated confidence to execute in faith, right? So, what you're good at, okay, you're good at. You can't, you don't have to mute your story, all right? Get around some people who also have the confidence to execute in faith, who are out there doing it, who, when you're around them, they inspire you, they show you what it looks like. It's so important. Elevated value, right, with what you know, like not underselling what you're doing. How are you going to attract the right people when you won't value what you do, right? This is really important. So important, okay? Elevated sense of abundance. There's more than enough room for you, okay? But you got to be all of you, right? Like, listen, this idea of you being a smaller version of who you are, staying in your lane, that's toxic talk. There's more than enough room for you. Elevated in actionability, right? Like, implementers are the ones that change their lives, not wishing, not hoping, not on the sidelines, not getting ready. Oh, that none of that does it. If you make a decision and you fight for that thing that you want, you will change your life. You know, what could happen 6 months from now? What could happen 6 weeks from now? Right? Literally. Like, you know, so when I think about it, most of the women I work with do say yes to work with me within 3 days or less. Okay. And because they're now people, they're not like later people. If I told you I was going to go to the gym and I'm not going to the gym for 4 months, you know, I'm not going to the gym. Okay. Why am I waiting? Why are you waiting? Elevated investor in yourself, right? Not low ticket investment. Invest at a high level in yourself. All right. Because you deserve it. You're your number one asset. And this notion of being codependent before you can move forward, if you can't fight to find $1,000 to figure out how to honor your dream, come on. Okay. You know what? Like, don't make yourself believe that, okay? That you have greater capacity than you even know, all right? And being an elevated student, okay? And that means that what you have in your hands, you use it. Sandra writes for comments, I thank you so much for sharing. Sandra, I think you're new here. All right, I'm so glad you're here. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you. I appreciate it. Camille writes, when people believe in what you're doing, they want to hear what you're saying. That was your aha. You can tell. You know how when you're talking to people and they're like ready to yawn, and you're talking about your big dreams and your plan and the book you're gonna write and the tour you're gonna do and the movement that's happening. See, this was me. I was talking about I want to do this thing with the corporations and I want to get myself on TV, and none of it had happened, but it was the vision I had in my mind. I achieved all of these things and more. But I had to have a network of people that can handle my truth. You need people that can handle your truth, okay? And Camille says, hang out with people with elevated beliefs, like literally, Camille. Isn't that powerful? It's so important. And that's why I wanted to share that with you. Patrice writes, elevated vision, elevated beliefs. Hey, Patrice, elevated confidence, elevated level of what I know, elevated sense of abundance, aligned with actionability. How about that? Elevated investors, elevated students, and great points. Thank you. You loved it all. You know, that's what I talked about today, right? And I always try to give it to you guys step by step. If you like this, you'll love the conference. You guys need to fight for what you need. Okay, Patrice says 100%. Okay. Let's see. Camille says, I'm not going to shrink my shine to make someone else feel fine, right? That's so important. You know, you can tell when it's happening. It's like, oh, you're great again. You get ready to tell me about something great you did do. You got to get around people doing great things because they're going to have an appetite for it. You inspire them when you lead from the front, and they don't feel threatened by you doing great things. They're like, tell me more. That's what I love to have in my community. Okay. I'm not interested in having a superficial conversation with people I know. Okay. That is not me. I'm a universal. Okay. All right. And forward thinking, be actionable is what Renee writes. Renee, I love that picture of you. Are there any other ahas or takeaways? You guys got value today, right? I'll never waste your time ever, right? Why is that? Okay. Everybody, you already know, I already told you, right? Why? Because what I want to do long-term is to be able to work with you. All right. And I know that if I respect you always and I give you amazing value, that many of you will make a decision to work with me. And I'll get the opportunity to help you change your life. Watch you do it. Okay. All right. Okay. LaCheryl, I love this. Okay. Hello, Cheryl. Okay. Let me put this. Hello, Cheryl. Okay, I watched your previous Facebook Live this morning, and I'm glad that I ran across your page. Great nuggets. Thank you. Come on, Cheryl. Come on. Make sure you guys hit the notification button here on this page or on Periscope so you get a notification when I come on, okay? Cass says this. One second. She says, this is great information and insight. Great points. I must have like the pretty people must just watch my lives, right? Because these are like great photos. You guys got great shots here, okay? And then Patricia writes, you're awesome. Thank you, right? You're awesome. Takes awesome to call awesome always, right? We only see what we are. All right. So in terms of next steps, at a minimum, go check out the conference, the Giant Experience. Kicks off December 7th through 11th next week, 90 minutes a day from 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time until 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'll change your life in a week. I promise you. The content that you get, the bonuses that are available. I had somebody write me this morning who just signed up from the live yesterday, who got the bonus on how to build a six-figure business from home. It's a bonus. It's $997. That's what we sell the course for. We bonused it. And she wrote, this course alone is life-changing, right? So, we just try to over-deliver, right? Because I know that if I can help you create amazing results and change your life, you'll tell that story. And more women, we get to help other people when we show up and stand tall in our own gifts, right? We can't help anybody by not being all of who we are, right? We got to be all of who we are. And when we do that, we use our gifts for good, right? We get to change the world, right? One woman at a time, right? And Tara writes, Tara, like, I love this image though. It's like the cutest thing. Thank you so much for the plethora of information. You're nothing short of amazing. You're nothing short of amazing. I mean, first of all, it's amazing that this image looks like this. I don't know how you did that, but I love it, right? And I love it. So I'd love to see you guys at the conference, right? Take an action. If you did nothing else today, right? You got value here. If you did nothing else, then what I suggest you do is look at the testimonial page and see for yourself if those are the kind of results that you want right now. Okay? Because in the next 6 weeks, it's going to be a new year. And there's no point in setting a goal January 1st. Your new year starts right now. Okay? 6 weeks from now, everything could be different for you. Many things could be different for you. All right. And I want you to have what I have and more. I literally do. Any final questions before I sign off? I told you yesterday we were going to go get the Christmas tree, and we didn't. We got the Christmas tree today, and it's just the cutest thing. Well, it's like this fat tree. We got this gigantic fat tree. I think it's maybe 7 feet. Maybe it might be 7 feet tall, but it's gigantic and it's fat. And now I'm really excited about it. It's feeling really like the holidays because then we have our tree. So, but we haven't decorated it yet. So, are there any questions, comments, thoughts before I sign off? Going once. Okay. Any questions about the conference? Okay. Anybody got questions about the conference? Happy to answer them. Okay. That's what I'm here for. Happy to answer anything that you guys might have. Okay. Going twice. All right. Just wanted to be here to answer questions, and I appreciate all the great feedback. If you're not on my email list, miaredrick.com, miaredrick.com, first name, last name.com. Renee says, thank you. Okay. Camille says, I've known for a while that I could not tell my dream and visions to everyone. Yeah. And, and it's important to know that, I just realized through what you're saying, the why. Yeah, why you couldn't, right? I mean, literally, because, the thing is, Camille, when you know what you want to do, right? This is how I see it anyway. When I think out of the box all the time, right? So I value people who think out of the box. So there's nothing you're going to tell me that I'm thinking you can't do because I think out of the box, and I only think about things that I believe are possible for me to do. And so I believe that people who are visionaries hold a bigger space for others than most are capable of, quite frankly, because what you believe is possible for you, you also believe is possible for others. It's the folks who never step outside of the box. They don't necessarily know that what you're saying is possible. So that's why there are limitations. And that's also why it's important to get around people who think, who have an elevated vision the same way that you do. They think outside of the box the same way that you do, okay? And Patricia says, thank you, 100%. Hearts and roses. I appreciate it. Love all of those, okay? Have a great and amazing day, okay? Enjoy your weekend, the rest of your weekend, and enjoy your family. I'll see you on the inside. I love you guys. Talk to you soon, okay? Bye.